Welcome to Madison City Channel's Know Your Candidates interviews, co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Dane County. I'm your interviewer, Louise Robbins, and I would like to introduce Karen Ball, running for the Madison Metropolitan School Board Seat 6. As we begin, I'd like you to give an opening statement outlining the educational, vocational, and civic experience that qualifies you for this office, and tell us why you're running for the Madison Metropolitan School Board.
Hi, thank you so much for having me and giving me this chance to sort of tell my story and why I'm intending on being on the school board one day. I am a longtime Madisonian. I actually went to West High School. I speak to a lot of students, and whenever I tell students that I went to West, I always preface that with, I also did student teaching at East, so go Pergolders. My children will go to La Follette, so go Lancers, and then I substitute taught at Memorial High School. So I have roots kind of in all the schools, and I feel pretty passionately about all of them. I was a pretty non-traditional student. I ended up going to college and getting a degree in math education. From there, I worked at Operation Fresh Start in employment training. That's where I really found my passion for helping students transition from high school to whatever was next. I was able to work real closely with a grant that we had received, and I was able to travel around the country and visit high schools that were doing work to help students be successful in college. An opportunity came up for me to work at Edgewood College and help sort of be the other side of that transition, and that's where I've been since then. I've been in education for 15 years. I have a master's in administrative leadership with a focus on adult basic education. My vocation and motivation is deeply rooted in what I've learned from the students that I have served over the last 15 years. I have seen amazing things from the students that I've had the privilege of working with. I've seen them overcome tremendous obstacles. It's truly been an honor to provide them with an academic experience, and behind all of that amazing student success are really good teachers. And I'm running for the school board because I really believe now is the time to tell the story of those amazing things happening in our schools, so we can really move forward as a community and take Madison public education into the next decade.
What are two issues or challenges the board will address in the next year, and what skills will you bring to the table as the board deliberates them?
Absolutely. I think the first one is the opportunity gap. I think that is on our minds, it's on the board's mind, how we will continue to celebrate and honor Black excellence. I will help support them by using my own knowledge of transitions for students and what it takes to really master content. I have a background in teaching. I teach currently. I help support students in math courses in college, and so I have a pretty good understanding of what are some of the things students need to do academically to be successful. I think if you just want two challenges, I think another challenge will be the upcoming referenda that will likely be on the ballot in November. We're at a unique time. We're going to have new leadership, a new superintendent, and then we're asking for these funds from the community. So I think the board's responsibility will really be working with the community to help them understand the investment that they should and need to make, why that investment's important, and then honoring that investment that they make by following through with what we say we're going to do.
What are you looking for in a new superintendent?
Ooh, I think that's a great question. Collaboration, really deep, meaningful collaboration. Our things that we are dealing with in our school district are complex, and not one of us alone is going to have any answer. And so I think a meaningful relationship between the superintendent, the superintendent's office, the Board of Education, our community, MTI, I think that's really what it's going to take to move us forward.
Given the timing of the referenda, you will have to start the school year with a budget that assumes that the operating referendum will not pass. In constructing that budget, which requires $5 to $8 million in cuts, what will you cut and what will you protect?
Absolutely. This is not something that is new to what I think about. Unfortunately, we're living at a time where education is constantly facing what can we cut. My first and foremost commitment is to any position that is student facing. I think that we cannot afford at any expense to lose any staff, teacher, administrator that actually has direct contact with students. So I would do everything I possibly could to preserve those positions. I would look for places where we could find efficiencies. Where, at an administrative level, are there places we can do our work a little bit better? Are there places we can collaborate more? I think that taking a close look, a new look at some of those structures might provide some opportunity to make reductions if need be.
The achievement gap between white students and students of color is a problem that MMSD has struggled with for a long time. What do you envision as your role in helping the district address the gap?
So I really bring my personal experience to this question and this issue. As a person who's tasked with helping students transition to college, I see that cycle of students graduating from high school underprepared and entering into systems where they're in remedial education. I've been really fortunate to work in institutions that have supported my creativity, and I've been able to set up programs where the achievement gap in my work has been reduced or is completely gone. I think that what it's going to take in our district is an unwavering belief in student potential. I think we have to come together and think about our own biases when we teach, and understand that students are capable of pretty significant things. One of the pieces of research that I use to inform a lot of my work is the opportunity myth, and they've done extensive research across the country. And unfortunately, one of the things that we see a lot is that teachers aren't necessarily providing grade level curriculum to students. And so I think we can do better in our classrooms. I think we can look at those sorts of things. I think we can provide teachers with the structures they need so that they can do the work that they set out to do.
How would you rate the job the district is doing in creating a respectful environment for all students and staff and dealing with the issue of racial slurs? What would you recommend to improve the situation?
Right before I came here, I was meeting with a student, and the student told me about her favorite teacher in high school, and this teacher inspired her. And she told me this was the teacher that really set her on her path to college. And then she told me that teacher was actually let go because of a racial slur. This issue is at the heart of so much of the work that we're doing right now. And we all have stories about it. We've all been affected by it. We should all agree that racial slurs are completely unacceptable. But we also have to provide opportunities for restorative justice, conversation, community building, and trust that we really are all in this for the same reason, and we are all really moving in the same direction. Curricular issues appear to be high on the board's agenda in the next year. What concerns and priorities do you bring to these issues? Yep. So I've been thinking about running for the school board for quite some time. And I think with the superintendent change, it really seemed like the right time, because I think that's where my energy will go the most. We are not, it is completely unacceptable where our reading proficiency scores at this point. We have new curriculum that's coming. We have to have teacher voices at the table. I think that's why the collaboration is so necessary. We have amazing people in this community. We have people who can get this work done. It's putting the pieces together so that it happens. How do you establish and maintain communication with multiple constituencies, including students, parents, teachers, administrators, and the taxpayers who are not part of these other groups, but to whom you must answer? Absolutely. I have always been passionate to talk about academic success and student success. It's been just a part of who I am. When I started this campaign, I had no idea how energizing this would be. I love talking to people. I love talking to constituents. I love hearing the stories because I feel like it's what puts all these pieces together so that we can do the work that I know Madison is capable of doing. It's social media, it's email, but it's also knocking on doors, it's face-to-face conversations. It's being available to people, and I would definitely work hard to make sure that that continued.
What would you like to say to the viewing audience as we complete this interview?
Absolutely. So I wear a t-shirt and it says "Math solves problems," and a lot of people don't know that that is actually a little slogan that I've coined myself. I wear it in stores, and it has a really exciting response or an absolute visceral response from people. I think math solves problems to me happened because I had a experience in a math class, and it was by a teacher who changed my life. And in that math class, what I learned was that our problems are complex. We have to look at them in multiple ways, and that solutions are not easy. They don't come in 15 minutes, they don't come in an hour. Sometimes they take days, sometimes they take weeks, and sometimes they take years. And that's really what I learned from math. I think as I move forward in this campaign and I move forward being active in the community around education, at the heart of what I do is figuring out solutions to complex problems. And I look forward to doing that in years to come.
I want to thank Karen Ball for speaking with us and the viewing audience for taking time to know your candidates. Please vote in the February 18th spring primary election and in every election. On behalf of Madison City Channel and the League of Women Voters of Dane County, I thank you for joining us.